I'm here with James. James, just before we get into the meat of it, I'm going to give you some stats that are rather concerning. 2 defeats in a week.
Yeah, nice.
1 win in 5 Premier League games. And of those 5 games, Arsenal have thrown away 4 leads. Not good.
Yeah, and you know what? I need to apologise because I sit on these previews and I say, look, it's all focused on the Champions League and, how much can we really kind of get up for it, blah, blah. And look, I do try and always look at the other side. I always try to look at the travelling fans, the young fans. That was probably someone's first Arsenal game today. And I always demand that the players and the coach and everyone who's a part of the actual football match, from an Arsenal perspective, treat it like every other game. But me, I struggle to get the energy and to get pumped for it because of what the Premier League's been this season. However, when you then get that kind of result, I'm still pissed. I'm still furious. It's still so frustrating to see us throw away another lead. I think, so you mentioned those 4 leads. So what? Everton, Palace, Brentford, and obviously today. Yeah. So that's 8 points. Yeah. And look, it does nothing for the title race. It shows you how bad we've been, that even if we'd actually held on to those leads, it wouldn't make much of a difference. But my word, at least we'd be, at least we'd have enjoyed watching our team win a game of football. At least we would have enjoyed, Arsenal kind of staying away from conversations like top 4 and Champions League football that we don't want to, be a part of. And at least we'd have felt that the club maintained a certain standard. Now, just did a reaction on the Goonverse. And the big thing I wanted to talk about there, and we talked about it on the watch along too, was Arteta can't juggle competitions. He can't do it. I haven't seen one season where he's actually been able to juggle multiple competitions, unless it's been a case of a somewhat favourable run. Because the minute it's got somewhat challenging, we've fallen at that hurdle every single time. That doesn't mean always prioritising the Premier League, because this time, where we've absolutely done our business in the Champions League, we haven't shown any consistency in our domestic league campaign. So
you say he's struggling to juggle competitions. What would you put that down to? What would be the factors?
I have no idea. I really have no idea. I don't know if it's tactics. I don't know if it's motivation. I don't know if it's the players. Because Arteta doesn't strike me as someone who lowers his standards. The way he's wrecked on the touchline, he doesn't strike me as someone who is demanding less of the players. So is it them? Are the players incapable of being up for it on a Tuesday and then on the Saturday? Do they, when we are 8 points clear in the 22-23 season, in the title race, looking brilliant, the shock title race no one expected, are they just not able to find those same levels for Sporting at home? I don't know. I don't get it. Last season and this season knocked out the FA Cup at home to Liverpool and Man United. One of them rotated massively in Liverpool, I think did towards the end of that game anyway. And Man United had a red card. We spent a lot of that game, on the front foot. We couldn't go through it. It's just the Carabao Cup. Look how weekly we go out of these competitions every season. Whether it's the 4th round to West Ham last season, year before that it was Brighton. Actually, this time we go on a bit of a run. We get to the semi-final, and it was just easy for Newcastle. It's probably the easiest round they had. We are just not able to do it. And then the last few years, it's been because all eyes are on the Premier League, and the one time it's actually something else, the Champions League, and you're thinking, well, at least keeps the momentum in the Premier League. Our results have fallen off a cliff. So I'm really disappointed. I didn't think this game, however it went, was going to evoke as much kind of emotion, frustration in me. Because I don't think a win would have left me feeling euphoric in any way. But I am just super disappointed, and I think I need to sort of learn that actually you want your team winning football matches, so don't take any of them for granted.
I mean, listen, the last win was against Ipswich, a 10-man Ipswich, and Ipswich, let's face it.
Oh, of course, I forgot about Ipswich.
Poor side.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I guess you have to be a little bit concerned ahead of Wednesday, or are you thinking that this doesn't mean too much?
No, the funny thing about all this is I don't think it has any impact on Wednesday.
You're not worried about the lack of form of some of the players?
We've been, for want of a better phrase, we've been so shit since February. It didn't stop us scoring 7 against PSV. It didn't stop us beating Real Madrid twice. And it didn't stop us against PSG. Yes, we lost at home, but I don't think we played bad in that game. I think they were very good, and I think you can see the fight and the heart was all there. So weirdly, I don't think it'll have any impact, but I think that's kind of even more weird. I don't have to explain. I think that's kind of weirdly... On the one hand, it's not worrying. It's a good thing because it means that the players are able to shake it off and go again when it really, really matters. And that, to a degree, is like, okay, cool. great. But then on the other hand, it's like, it's not really good to be able to sort of turn it on and off.
No, I hear
It's
you. I mean,
easier. It's hard to
ideally,
explain.
you want to go into the game with wins and everyone playing
Yeah.
really well, and that's the ideal situation.
Yeah.
But you are right. It doesn't guarantee anything. But I have to ask you though. This game was seen as a big game for the captain. Coming into this game, a lot
Yeah.
of people were saying that should he be dropped? Should he be relieved of the captaincy? Should we stick with him? So a lot of people's eyes were on him for this game. How do you think he performed?
So I disagreed with Strict and Turkish on the watch along about the first half. They said he was fine, but we expect better, and I totally agree on the expecting better front. But I thought he was good, and I'm not just blinded by what was a nice assist.
Yeah, I thought he was
I
decent.
thought generally he made good decisions. I actually thought the runs for him were really poor. There were times where he was trying to drive forward and actually turn past players, and the runs from Martinelli, Trossard, they didn't have good games. Saka didn't have a good game, and the best moment Saka had was when he drifted off towards the left and his right foot shot went wide. But actually, I didn't think the front three were helping Erdegaard. There were times where Erdegaard was driving the ball. And listen, Bukayo Saka, I absolutely love him. But there are times where I was thinking, why is he not making a bursting run in behind? Maybe they don't think Erdegaard's going to play it. But ultimately, I don't think the front three manoeuvred in a way to help Erdegaard. The one time we got a run from Declan Rice, he did play that ball. He went and scored. So I thought first half was good. Second half fell away massively. I criticised him against PSG mainly for saying that I felt he was hiding, which is something I rarely say about him. I don't think he was hiding in this game. He's just so out of form. He's so out of form to the point where even a good first 45 wasn't something he could build on. He kind of got dragged back down to more of what we've seen since he's returned from his injury. So,
Has this game, you're saying he's so out of form, has it changed your opinion as to whether he should start on Wednesday or not?
no, because who's knocking on the door? And what's so frustrating? I'd love to say Waneri, but I have no idea. Arteta's not played him. I mean, that's a really strange one from Arteta. Now, look, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and we are talking about an 18-year-old. I understand all that, but the likelihood is everything's fine, and Arteta's just choosing not to play him. Now, I don't know. Waneri had a run, sort of January to sort of beginning of March, where he was regularly in the team. And look, if we're being completely honest, we're going to judge him like a first-team player. He started at Old Trafford. I don't think he did great. And I don't think he was brilliant when he came against Chelsea. Maybe Arteta's looked at him and gone, let's take him out a little bit, because he did play a lot of football and he had some great moments, like the couple Champions League goals against PSV and Girona and stuff like that. And maybe he's just thought, let's start to take him out a little bit and just manage that for him. But this is, honestly, I'm just trying to find excuses just for the sake of balance. The reality is, Waneri is too talented to not be playing more minutes, and he should be on that pitch. So I'm disappointed he's not. And if there's a reason we don't know about, then I'll hold my hands up and say fair enough. And I've tried to ask that question here. But generally, I just think it's ridiculous that he's only getting 10 minutes. But then look at PSG the other night. He brought on Ben White and Waneri, gave them 10 minutes to make a difference. He actually did. That's kind. He gave Waneri 5 minutes. And it was an added time. Yeah. So Arteta, that's something that concerns me a little bit. I've got to be honest.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think the mood of the camp will be? Do you think that they will just try and put this game behind them as soon as possible? Or do you think that, how do you think the mood of the camp will be following today's game?
I think they've got almost one last big push against PSG in them. I think they've got one big, come on, dig deep. We can get to a Champions League final. And there's fewer, bigger motivations in football, right? So I think the mood in the camp will be, forget it, now we just focus on that game. But I think if we don't go through, I think what's been kind of this simmering, right, we've been dropping points, Liverpool won the league, we've got to do the Guard of Honour, they won it with 5 games to go, all that. What's been kind of just buried aside because of the Champions League, I think could very quickly just, and there could be a very quick oh my word, this was a bad campaign. There was a point at which, you can dress up in a lot of ways. Couple semi-finals, second place, and, it wasn't our year, whatever. Injuries, decisions, whatever. And then actually stop it and go, well, miles off Liverpool, every chance we finish 3rd or 4th in all this. Every chance that we go out with a bit of a whimper against PSG. And then you stop and you look at it and you go, this summer is absolutely massive. I don't know if I've ever seen a summer that's held more weight and importance than this. So, yeah, everything just feels like it's on this. And I always want to try and just look at, okay, it's never as bad as we think it is. It's also never as good as we think it is. But I do think, you talk about the mood in the camp. I've got no idea. I don't talk to these players, obviously. But I just feel like, certainly amongst the club and the fan base, let's say, I think there's every chance that it just is like, oh my word, this is just, it will really start to resonate with people how bad a campaign it's been. And do you know what's so funny? There are others who have had far worse campaigns, but we're just talking about the expectations we had for our team and what we've been watching on the pitch. It's been so far off what we expected.
You know what? Maybe we should try and end on some positives. I can think of one or two, but I'm going to, invite you to give some positives of today.
Declan Rice scored a good goal. Lewis Skelly continues to show up. Do you know, I want to keep picking up Kivior, man. He's really, really slotted in, is doing well. So well done to, I guess, those guys. And as far as we're aware, no injuries. So there we go. That's a positive.
Yeah, that's good.
But you know what, Laurie? Like, we can beat PSG. And we can just forget everything about this league campaign, and they can deliver the most unbelievable moment in my life as an Arsenal fan, the most unbelievable moment for so many fans. And one of the Turkish who've seen everything, and you guys who've seen the Invincibles, and everything, it will still go down as one of the greatest seasons and moments. So that is the fuel for the team, for the personal pride in that game to get to a final, but to win this competition, and none of this will matter. Like, we could drop to 10th and I wouldn't care if we lift that competition. It's just like, yeah, they need to just, we'll do the post-mortem later. This is just some thoughts. We need to just go and do what we can now in the Champions League.
Sounds good. That's a good way to end. Thanks, James.
Hi, we've teamed up with UK Auto Claims to see if you could be eligible to score thousands in compensation. If you've had any cars, vans or motorbikes on finance between 2007 and 2021, go to ukautoclaims.co.uk to start your free simple check. Loads of you will have overpaid and payouts could be worth thousands, so you've got to look into it. Hit up the link below and check now for free.